Steady progress. Ferrari leaves the 4.381-kilometer Hungaroring in Budapest reassured for two key reasons. First, the development path of the SF24 car is the right one. Second, Charles Leclerc was able to complete a race without issues, showcasing his undeniable qualities and gaining a morale boost that a fourth place rarely gives. Maranello's expectations were to aim for a podium, but the gap to McLaren and Red Bull remains significant, while the battle with Mercedes for the third position is more open. Therefore, Ferrari cannot be satisfied with Charles Leclerc's fourth place and Carlos Sainz's sixth place, considering his poor start, as the team remains the fourth force. The performance gap to McLaren, Red Bull, and Mercedes is significant. After all, it seems likely the deficit between Ferrari and other top teams will increase at other circuits that will not suit the SF24 single-seater as was expected at the Hungarian track. Having started the 2024 Formula One campaign as the closest challengers to Red Bull, Ferrari are now the slowest of the front-running teams. Therefore, after a promising start to the year, Ferrari unfortunately find themselves in familiar territory, losing ground in the development race. The upgrades introduced by the Maranello technicians at the Circuit de Catalunya in Barcelona have triggered the team's relative decline, with the SF24 relegated to the fourth fastest car. Despite this, the Ferrari team boss believes the development from Maranello has been praiseworthy over the last year, as Vasseur pointed out that the SF24 cars had quite a strong pace on Sunday, and that the team has halved the gap to the front compared to last year, limiting the margin to 20 seconds. However, these numbers hold little weight when McLaren has surpassed all expectations, outperforming Red Bull in the same time frame. Of course, Ferrari's team principal should hardly be expected to disparage their personnel's efforts in the factory. Maintaining high morale is always important, but is especially necessary during times of hardship. Still, it must be said that Vasseur's comments at the end of the Hungarian Grand Prix are a very lenient analysis of the current trajectory at the Scuderia. Considering the relatively limited impact of Red Bull's recent updates for the RB20 single-seater, there is also reason to believe they can be vulnerable in what remains of the 2024 Formula One campaign. Unfortunately for Ferrari, it seems they will not be the team to capitalize on the reigning champion's struggles. At least the positive news is that Ferrari is heading to Spa-Francorchamps for the Belgian Grand Prix with the updated floor used last weekend in Budapest. The idea of reverting to the Imola configuration, as was done at Silverstone, has been rightly abandoned. The feared bouncing in Hungary did not occur, so the floor edge reinforcements worked, providing more positive feedback to the drivers. Further tweaks will be brought to Belgium, where the bouncing effect will likely be more pronounced, but Maranello's engineers are confident they are on the right track to climb back up the ranks. The SF24 car showed flashes of competitiveness in the race that even surprised the Ferrari pit wall. The data collected, especially with Charles Leclerc's hard tires, was very encouraging, demonstrating that Ferrari still suffers from a too narrow tire usage window. In a limited temperature range, the red car was briefly the fastest on track, while it struggled more with the medium tires. Work on the setup in the Ardennes will aim to widen the tire usage window. Pirelli has chosen the three mid-range compounds, C2, C3, C4, for a track that has been resurfaced and offers significantly more grip, with lap times expected to be much lower than last year. Ferrari wants to head into the summer break with a smile, to plan the second part of the 2024 Formula One Championship without too much pressure, awaiting Vasseur, interim technical director, to step down from this role and announce the new team structure. And we can expect some surprises. The Scuderia announced Enrico Cardile's departure from the Maranello team a fortnight ago, as the Italian aerodynamicist will join Aston Martin as its new chief technical officer in 2025. The French manager has absorbed Enrico Cardile's vacant role on an interim basis, but the Ferrari team principal has hinted that a replacement is on its way. Not only has Vasseur got a plan in place to replace Enrico Cardile full-time, but Ferrari will introduce a new technical structure after the Formula One summer break. Still, an experienced head leaving Ferrari has surely got to leave a mark, not least when that person is bound for a rival. But Vasseur ultimately doesn't see it that way. Formula One is a melting pot of creative minds, often switching from team to team as their careers develop and names come and go from Maranello as they do in Brackley, Woking, or Milton Keynes. For instance, ex-Mercedes performance director Loic Serra will join Ferrari in October as head of chassis performance engineering, and he could very well fill the Enrico Cardile-shaped hole left in the team, according to F1 journalist Joe Saward. Fred Vasseur, however, is keen to stress the importance of the collective group of engineering minds at Ferrari. The Ferrari team principal pointed out that they have a team of more than 200 or 300 people working on the project. He stressed that the departure of one individual is not a major issue, as the group is more important than any single person. This principle applies both when recruiting someone new and when losing someone. Fred Vasseur expressed confidence in the stability and collaborative efforts of the team, noting that the people are working very well together. Team harmony comes amid what Frederic Vasseur admitted is a tough moment. Things were looking rosy for Ferrari at the start of the year, when Carlos Sainz became the first driver outside of Red Bull to win a race at the Albert Park circuit in the Australian Grand Prix, and the Italian side remained in contention long enough to grant Charles Leclerc a maiden home victory on the streets of Monte Carlo in the Monaco Grand Prix. However, since Charles Leclerc's triumph around his backyard, there has been significant struggle for the Maranello team as it has watched McLaren and Mercedes ascend to become Red Bull's closest challengers, which has also led to Ferrari losing second place in the Formula One Constructors' World Championship. The new technical structure at Ferrari will undoubtedly have a lot of heavy lifting to do in order to avert the Scuderia's recent run of form, which has yielded just one podium in 5 races. Ferrari is known to be courting Adrian Newey to become part of its team, with the former Red Bull chief technical officer able to start with a new team, if he chooses, from April 2025, which would give him enough time to have a proper impact on the new Formula One cars for the 2026 championship. Adrian Newey is being hunted by a number of teams on the grid, with Aston Martin also keen to lure him to Silverstone, with Ferrari boss Frederic Vasseur dropping a cryptic hint, as he also revealed Enrico Cardile's replacement would be announced in the short term. Finally, a mention is also worth giving for former Ferrari team principal Mattia Binotto, as Audi has announced a shakeup of the management team in charge of its new Formula One project, which will see ex-Maranello team boss return to the series. The Italian manager will report to the board of directors and take over the roles of Chief Operating Officer and Chief Technical Officer. Having spent his entire Formula One career at Ferrari, Mattia Binotto will bring valuable experience of running a full manufacturer team, which produces both its own chassis and power unit. He rose to the role of team principal of Ferrari in 2019 and guided the team to second in the Constructors' Championship. However, he left the Maranello team after it fell short of championship success in 2022, following a strong start to the season, with Charles Leclerc able to secure 2 race victories in the first 3 rounds of the Formula One campaign behind the wheel of the F175.